Namo Shakyamunaya Buddhaya. Dear respected Thai, dear brothers, sisters, and dear friends, this is a happy moment indeed. Today is the 27th of December in the year 2024. We are on the third day of the holiday retreat at Plum Village with the theme, The Word We Are. And the talk for this morning is Cultivating Peace from Within. As we shared with the children earlier, this is a very special time of year. As for me, Christmas is something is very special to me. And this time of year is for me, there's something is very, very sacred. Even though that yes, I'm Buddhist, but Christmas is something is very important to me. And one of the reasons as to why it's important and it's very sacred to me is that it's time for families to be together. And I remember that every year, during when I was late, Christmas is the time where we have family reunion, where all of my family members came back, no matter where they were, how busy they were. They organized the time to come back to be together for at least the Christmas Eve. So it's a very special time. And being a monk, I also see that this time of year is also very important. As a monastic now that we don't have a blood family to come and visit us often, where mommy and daddy come to visit us on Christmas Eve, but we have spiritual family. Spiritual family. I remember when I was in France, one of the things that our teacher, Thái, has taught us, among many, many retreats that we have, holidays retreat is one of the most important ones. And no matter how busy we are, how obstacles and challenges that we may face, we have to keep the holiday retreat. If you have to drop some other retreat, but don't ever drop the holiday retreat. Holiday retreat is time that where people need a place to come to take a refuge. So please keep the holiday retreat. To continue the tradition in that spirit, we here at Thai Plum Village been holding the holiday retreat for the last however long since we started the monastery. And holiday retreat is one of the best retreat here in Thai Plum Village. It's fun. It has the family spirit where you can experience togetherness, wholeness, joy, peace, and many other good qualities. Coming to this retreat, I mean, now that, I know that working outside, saving holidays is hard, it's difficult. Saving time, especially this time of year. And yes, you spare your precious time, holiday, 1 week, to come here to Plum Village to attend this retreat with us. And we are very grateful for that. Instead of going to enjoy your luxurious vacation in Phuket, in Maui, or elsewhere, you chose to come here, especially taking your family, the children with you. And that is very important. As for me, that every time that we come to a retreat like this is an opportunity for us to recharge, to reconnect, and to relax. And I would say, this is the best gift that you could do to yourself. Come in here to relax with your whole family. So make sure during this 1 week that you relax. To relax, it takes some arrangements. You have let go a lot of things behind already. Work, all of the business errands at home to be able to come here. So make sure that when you are here, this is your time. To be able to protect yourself, this is your time, this is your gift, is that the smartphones, the iPhones, don't turn it on so often. Because if you keep touching it, keep calling it, keep texting it, then your personal time, your peaceful time may be taken away. Remember, this is one of the best gifts that we could do to ourselves. And for being here, if you cannot relax, if you cannot let go, especially the electronic gadgets, there's nowhere else that you can do that. And during this holiday retreat, we have a lot of activities going on. As you can see, the schedule is going on all day long. And one of the strategies for having the full schedule is that, so that you can practice letting go of your phones. You be with the Sangha. You be with the Sangha. So please see if you can challenge yourself. If you don't need to make an urgent call to communicate with anyone, see if you can turn it off. If you cannot turn it off completely, see if you can set it on the silent mode or vibration mode. And see if you can challenge yourself another. Maybe if I need to check the phones, I check the phone 3 or 4 times a day during my break time to see if you can do that. You will be amazed to see how many times the hands would like to touch your smartphones. How many times that you feel restless and lonely without the phones. So it's a practice. We go in deep about that later. Okay? As a monk, I'm very grateful every time that I see the big retreat like this. And so many people come and enjoy and benefit from the retreat. Because before I became a monk, I also had a life like you. Living outside was very, very busy. Following, pursuing American dream. Life was very hectic, was very busy, stressful. So every time that I see people come and here and relax and enjoy to be in this retreat, I'm very happy and I'm very grateful. In the contemporary life, many of us are very, very occupied with making a living. We may have had many projects to be taken care of and to pursue of. In the current economic and political situation, just a little change from outside can directly or indirectly affect us. And that would affect our peace and our happiness. At this moment, there are wars going on out there. In Ukraine, in Syria, in Middle East. Political regime struggles in places. But here we are, sitting, practicing, cultivating peace. Nowadays, we are easily stressed, insecure, and worried about what is happening or what will happen to us individually or collectively, as a community or as a nation. And these negative energies keep accumulating and going in our body and mind, seriously affecting our peace and our happiness. Recently, we were in Japan. To be correct, was early this spring. We were having a teaching tour in Japan. And I have to say, Japan is one of the most beautiful countries. Very, very beautiful. Not only the landscape is beautiful, but the people, the culture are also beautiful. Of course, we know that Japan is a very developed, well-developed country, advanced in a lot of areas, and that's including technology. And when we were there, we saw a lot of robots being used in many, many places. Not only in Japan, but here in Thailand, robots are also being used in many places. If you go to MK restaurant, you will see a robot in form of a server come out, delivering your food or take your order. Amazing. Having said that, the world is heading in the direction of AI. We are in the direction of making AI, which is called most of the places, most of the countries are making humanoid robots to replace humans, some of the works. You know that there are some schools, that some countries, even encourage children to learn about AI. The subject of AI is being implemented in the school. And some children are actually having stress. Some are very eager to learn. Some are having stress. So we are heading in the direction of making humanoid robots. Today, we're not in a place of saying that good or bad. We're not in place of that, okay? We're just saying that as the world is heading in the direction of making humanoid robots, we as a human become robots. And we call robotic humans. And we go in an opposite direction. Okay? As I shared earlier, there's nothing wrong with making humanoid robots. This is one of the human claims that we are civilized than ever, that we're able to make the humanoid robots to replace human. the humanized robots replace some of the work of human. The work is called humanized machine. Whereas human, we learn, we study, we do like this. We call machinized humans or robotics humans. So in order for us to make all of these humanized robots to advance, to run, we have to work so hard. And as we work so hard to develop ourselves so that we can be on top, to be in control, then slowly, unintentionally, we become robotics humans. It doesn't matter how advanced a robot can be. There's one thing that the robots cannot ever, ever replace human. You know what would that be? Emotion, that's exactly right. And being a human, the privilege is that we have the emotion. To feel, to touch, to care, and to love. And that are fundamental, basic privileges as a human. And yes, we forget about that. We chase, we run after in order for us to develop ourselves. So we're competing. So you can never competing with the robots. Humanized robots. Robots doesn't need to rest. Isn't it right? It can work 24 hours a day. And one of the good reasons as to why we develop humanoid robots is to what? There are many, many reasons, but the bottom line is to what? Productivity, exactly right. What is it about productivity? Work less, yes. In other words, optimize effectiveness and efficiency. Isn't it correct? That's the bottom line. And in order for us to optimize effectiveness, efficiency, we have to run. We have to run. So here in this retreat, I'm sharing with you to begin the talk this morning. I'm not talking about pros and cons. That's not our place to talk about that. We're here to talk about how we come back to ourselves and enjoy ourselves as a real human beings. Stop being robotic humans. We might have spent so much time at work. We might have tried so hard to pursue success. Have you ever asked yourself a question? You spend enough time at home with your family? Another question is, how can we stop being a robotic humans and truly live as a human beings and enjoy all of these privileges? One of my favorite stories that I learned when I was in college. A teacher, professor, came to a class with a few things. A vase flowers, flower vase, some pebbles, some ping pong balls, and a bag of sand. He says, my dear children, my dear students, these are the things that I would like to demonstrate to you today. Here's the flower vase. The flower vase represents your life. The ping pongs represent the most important things in your life. And what are the most important things in your life? Your family, your health, your children, your parents, your friends, right? If you don't have anything else but you have these, your life is still happy. The pebbles, what the pebbles represent for? The purple represents your career, your house, and so. And the sand represents what? The sand represents your electronic gadgets, represent your clothes, your shoes, and everything else. If you were to put the sand inside the vase flower, the flower vase, then you have no space to put anything else. But if you were to put the ping pong ball inside the flower vase first, then at least you will have a lot of space for everything else. So now you reflect to see what are the most important things in your life before it's too late to put. And I was very touched and moved by that story. As a monk, now I have been asking myself, what is the most important things to me? And I will get into that in a moment. And I think as a human being, in order for us to cultivate peace, joy, and happiness in our life, each one of us as human, we need to develop, we need to cultivate a spiritual dimension. To me, spirituality or spiritual dimension is not about religion. It's not a belief. It's not superstitions. You don't have, or we don't have to be a Buddhist in order to be spiritual. Spirituality is something that helps us to get in touch deeply with the reality. For example, if we drink a cup of tea and we are fully present with a cup of tea, and we get in touch with a cup of tea at that moment, that at that moment, everything, the mind will stop, and you become real, the tea become real. Once the mind stops, the thinking is stopped, then what happens? Peacefulness is there. Quietness is there. Peacefulness. Tranquility is there. And at that moment, that is when you touch, you understand things in a different level. And as to us, that is what we call spirituality. And to be able to cultivate peace, we need to have that. We need to have a spiritual dimension. The ability to cultivate mindfulness, concentration, and insight in our daily life. And with these three energies, we are able to recognize, to accept, to embrace our challenges, our difficulty, our suffering, our despair, and look deeply into them, respond to them promptly, and able to find a way out. And then in addition to these three energy, with these three energy, we are able to get in touch with peace, with joy, with happiness from within and around us. For the last few days, you probably have heard about the word that we use, getting in touch, right? When you walk mindfully, you will get in touch with the wonders of life. When you listen mindfully with the sounds of the bell, you will get in touch deeply with your emotion, and so on. So the word in touch means not you touching. Okay? In touch, it means there's an awakening moment. When the mind is so still, is so quiet, at that moment, you are waking. Oh, that's what it is. That means you're getting in touch what it is. Attachment is an awakening moment. So with the energy of mindfulness, concentration, and insight, it helps us to do that, to get in touch with those things, and help us to find a way out. Now, that is what we all need as a human. If we want to be truly to be happy, to be at peace. Remember, happiness is not possible without true peace. If you think that you are happy without peace, then that kind of happiness is not a true happiness. True happiness based on true peace. And to have true peace, to cover the true peace, first of all, we need to practice nonviolent. In each one of us, there's a degree, there's a certain level of violent and nonviolent. Isn't it correct? Every one of us has it. In order for us to cultivate peace, first of all, we need to bring true harmony to the body and the mind. We need to be very gentle and love toward our body. You know, there's a lot of young people out there. They don't know how to deal with their emotions, especially strong emotion. They don't know how to take care of their strong emotion. Every time they have strong emotion, such as despair, depression, anger, loneliness, guess what they do? They find something to cover up those strong emotions or dissipate the strong emotion. What they do is, there's a lot of young people out there, they do self-harm. They cut the veins at their arms, at their hands. They drink, they use drugs. We have one of the monastic sisters who used to be a medical doctor. So after she graduated, she worked in the emergency room for some time. And when she was working there in the emergency room for long hours, and she been observing, seeing all of these young people keep coming back, they're harming themselves. They cut their vein. They committed suicide. So every time they came back, she had to treat them. Treated them, released them in a few days, in a few weeks, and then a few months they come back again. To one point, she realized that, you know, as a medical doctor, I can treat them to heal their body, but I cannot help them to heal their mind. And my own mind is also a mess. And that's one of the reasons as to why she chose to pursue spiritual path. Find the way out for herself, as well find a way to help others. Coming back to the young people. Nowadays, many of us, when we experience strong emotion, we don't know what to do. We cover up. We find ways to dissipate those feelings by consuming. There are many ways of consuming, right? Going online is also one way of consuming. Clicking is also one way of consuming. There's so many ways. So coming back, to cultivate peace from within, we can begin with the body. With the body, we learn how to relax the body, to be gentle with the body. We can come back and learn how to relax the body. Every day, you think that Every time there is a conflict, when someone says something, do something that may trigger the seeds of dissatisfaction, seed of anger, seed of jealousy, seed of loneliness in us. And if we were to react to it, then we create violence from outside of us. But not alone that we create a violence outside of us, but each one of us, every time that we have a conflict in our mind, because someone says something, do something that trigger those seeds of irritation, of anger, then we create conflicts within ourselves. That's what we call conflicts of feelings. One day, just one day, you might have a feeling, conflicts of feeling. This morning, I might like this person a lot. He says something really nice to me. He done something very sweet to me. So therefore, I like him. I like her. In the afternoon, he might say something different. Then you become dislike. She become dislike. See, you might have a very different feeling throughout the day. So when you have a different feeling, different emotion, you're creating conflicts within yourself. Everything is about conflicts from within. So when we're talking about taking care, practicing nonviolent, we first have to learn how to come back to taking care of ourselves first. How to take care of our emotion from within. By minimize conflicts between one feeling and another, one idea and another. Have you ever had attending a meeting, you have this very wonderful idea. After the meeting, you go back and you have a different idea. And then tomorrow you come back to the meeting, I have a different idea. And when you come back the next day, I have another different idea. So every time you keep having ideas and ideas, you conflicts of interest. Conflicts of interest. And we're not about creating conflict with others. You are conflicting to yourself. You see? And these are the things that we have to pay real attention with. And every time that we have conflicts within ourselves, we unintentionally creating stress in ourselves. We worry. So the practice of cultivating nonviolence is that come back to ourselves. Check in with the body, the feeling, to see where we are. Feel it, sense it, and be with it. Calm it down. In Buddhism, in Buddhist psychology, we talk about body and mind are one. Body and mind are one. The body, the mind relies on the body to manifest. Is that correct? If without the body, the mind is not there. So the mind relies on the body to manifest. Whereas the body relies on the mind to function. If the body without the mind, then it's just a vegetation. So that is why they interact, body and mind. So taking care of one, it means you're taking care of others. If you're taking a good care of your body, also it means that you're taking good care of your mind. Isn't it true? Let's listen to one sound the bell. in the there are two important sutras that we learned, especially in the Plum Village tradition. That is the full awareness of breathing, Anapanasati Sutra. And the other one is the full establishment of mindfulness. And both of these sutras begin with the body. They both begin with the body. Why both important sutras have to begin with the body? Because the body is something that you can feel, that you can touch. It is a tangible asset. Tangible assets is something that you can touch and you can feel. So it is much easier to work with, to practice with. Whereas the mind is more subtle. So that is how we begin with the body first. We begin with the body, we work with the body. And as we increase our awareness, which is the energy of mindfulness and concentration, then it's much easier for us to move in to work with feelings, perception, and so on. So heaven says that today, peace begins with oneself. We begin to work with the body first. So for the Anapanasati Sutra, which is the discourse on the full awareness of breathing, first exercise is to be aware of an in-breath and out-breath. And we've been guided for the last couple of days how to come back to ourselves and enjoy following in-breath and out-breath. And as you see the children, the kids this morning, they've been learning well, huh? And they remember well. There are many ways of how we can observe our breathing. Breathing. There are two ways that are more concrete and practical for us to observe. First is through the nostril. Through the nostril. As we take an in-breath, we feel that the cold air is coming into our nostril. As we take an out-breath, you will feel the warm air going out to our nostril. Just you bring the attention, the awareness to the nostril, to the tip of your nose, and that is how give us concentrated, give us mindful, and we stay with that. The second part is that we practice with the belly breathing. Children, especially kids, infants when they were first born, they're really good at belly breathing. If you see when they're sleeping, the belly is rising, falling, rising, falling. It's a very beautiful pattern. But as we go up, we encounter many, many, many other things. Then we slowly we forget the method of belly breathing. So it's time for us to come back to pay attention to belly breathing. As for me, is one of the positions or the gesture is easier for me to do practice of belly breathing is that when I lie down. When I lie down. When I lie down, then I just bring my attention down to my belly and just pay attention in and out, rising and falling. Much easier for me to stay concentrated. As remind me to be back to the children time. So those are different techniques that how we can practice with. You try to see which one is easier for you. Saying and practicing mindful breathing is very easy. The teaching is very simple and easy. But practicing, continue the practice is difficult. Just like we say, being a monk is very easy. Becoming a monk is very easy. All you have to do is just shave your head. Make an aspiration, join the club. But staying as a monk is difficult. Staying a monk, you have to be with your emotion. Every day we have to deal with good emotion, bad emotions, like this person, don't like that person. You have to deal with that all day long. But that's part of the practice. You don't have to be a monk to deal with that. As a human being, we are born with that. And we work with that. So coming back, with dealing with in-breath and out-breath, we have to train ourselves, to accustom ourselves to be friends with our breath. Sometimes people ask, you ever get bored as a monk? You're just breathing in and breathing out every day. Everything you do, you walk, you eat, you talk about breathing in, breathing out. You see the children remember? You get bored? Sometimes. Sometimes we get bored. But remember, boredom is one of the dangers. It's an emotion, yes, but it's also a dangerous side. Every time we get bored and we know, we're not in the right track. So we have to learn to come back to ourselves. To keep practicing with it. At first, the practice of mindful breathing in and out, it can be very boring. But if you play with it, you stick with it, there's a lot of things that you can find out about yourself. Just chew your in-breath and out-breath. One of my here as in Plum Village tradition, as a big brothers and sisters, we have to coach, we have to guide our younger siblings. So we have mentor, mentee. And my mentees, I give them a homework to do. As you breathe in and out, tell me what happened, what you see, what you observe between an in-breath and out-breath. We get into that in a moment. And if you are connected, you concentrated, you so much you can learn from that. It's a pause in between. It's very, very tiny, but you can learn so much from that pause, just between an in-breath and out-breath. So coming back to that question, is become a monk, we have to learn how to be creative, how to entertain ourselves, to get used to the breathing, so that we don't get bored with it. But once you get used to it, then it becomes parts of life. Become a part of life. Of course, as a human, forgetfulness is the opposite of mindfulness. And we do have a tendency to forget all the time. That is why it's so awesome coming to the retreat like this, so that we can be reminded all the time. Walking, sleeping, eating, sleeping is total relaxation. Eating, everything you have to do in mindfulness. See, even children remember all the time. So as we take an in-breath, we are aware this is an in-breath. As we take an out-breath, we are aware that this is an out-breath. And we breathe naturally. We don't force the breath to be long or to be short, to be deep or to be shallow. You just breathe naturally. Just very simple. Some of us, it depends on the capacity of our lungs. Some breath is longer than the others. Some shorter than the other. Deep or shallow or versa. All you have to do is just to recognize simply what it is, what that is, and be present with it. One of the things that I appreciate a lot about this practice is that every time my mind is very agitated or irritated for someone, then I remember to come back. As a human, it's very funny is that when you feel good, you are happy, then you don't remember. But thank goodness, if when you are sad when you have strong emotion, if you've been practicing, hopefully you will remember to come back. So every time that I feel lost, I feel dispersed, just remembering, coming back to in-breath and out-breath, it helped me to be present with myself, to check in with myself at this moment, where I am at this moment, where is my body? How do I feel at this moment? Do I feel any ache, any pains anywhere at this body at this moment? Sometimes it's very easy to be very disconnected with our own body, especially we work a lot with the screen. Don't you agree? I remember when I live outside, I spend a lot of time spending on the screen. Sometimes the bladder is calling, and I neglect it. And by the time it's 4, then I have to run. So just follow in breath and out breath. It helps us to detect what is going on inside our body. Be present with the body. Check in to see what is going on. Breathing in naturally. I follow my in breath from the beginning to the end. Follow my out breath naturally. I follow in breath from the beginning to the end, on and on. It keeps us to be concentrated. When our mind is like to stick with the breath, and at that moment, what happened? There's no space for you to think something else. The mind has the ability to run and to chase, to think about something else. So the breath is the bridge, is anchor your mind with your body at that moment. And at that moment, the breath is what? The breath is the object of the mind. So when we do like that, we follow from the beginning all the way to the end. Guess what happened? That is when the stillness, the peacefulness are present. Often the mind is yap, think a lot of things. That's what we call non-stop thinking radio station. Practicing this up, it has to stop. Stop. Earlier, we present about the body and the mind. In Buddhism, we talk about 3 karmas, right? What are the 3 karmas? Body, speech, and mind. There are 3 karmas. Karma means action, right? Karma means action. Even though there are 3 karma, body, speech, and mind, but the mind is the leading karma. You think first, therefore you react. Therefore you speak, therefore you do. Your hand, your gesture will follow, right? So the mind is the leading karma. So we can say that when we follow our in-breath and out-breath thoroughly, from beginning to the end, we suddenly stop the thinking. Thinking is what? Thinking is action. Thinking stimulates emotions. Thinking makes us run and chase and pursue. So therefore, the practice of stop thinking is so crucial. It is very simple. All we have to do is just breathing in, breathing out. And you have to have faith in this. It may take some time to practice, but it works. When the mind is subsided, all the emotion is subsided, then peacefulness is present. When peacefulness is present, then clarity is there. Clarity is there. One of the best things that I enjoy, the moment of peacefulness, is that is the moment of wishlessness. That's the moment you don't have to wish, don't have to think of anything. And that is the best moment. I can tell you much more about that moment, but I let you please continue to find out what that is, more than that. Now we move on. This is the part that I would like to concentrate on today, that aware of the body. Breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I'm aware of my whole body. We've been working like a machine, a robotic humans, and we forget that we have a body to take care. So this exercise, first, second, and third, help us to come back and check in with ourselves. Are you being kind to yourself? Are you being kind to your body? You've been working long hours enough? Have you given yourself enough rest? If you don't love yourself, how do you expect others to love you? If you don't know how to take care of your body, who will take care of your body for you? I learned my lesson very deep. Not only I was chasing, running when I was a lay. I didn't get ordained until I turned 31 years old. I didn't surrender myself until I turned 30, when I came to Plum Village when I was 30. And I was working very hard, and I was very, very busy. First few years a monk, that habit energy of working and running, forgetting the body I have to take care, also continued to haunt me. Until one day, I was very, very sick. I had a lung disease, a lung infection. And that moment, when I was admitted into the hospital, and they took the CT scan, they found out that I had so much water in my lung. At the moment, I was very extremely difficult to breathe. It was very painful. All of these years, I've been practicing, breathing in, breathing out, long breath, short breath, shallow breath. But I never, ever experienced and knew how short our breath could be until my lung was contracted with so much water. At that moment, I remember that night in the emergency room, I was breathing like a dying fish on a dry land, coughing for air, like that. And then my mind, suddenly, I had a lot of fears. I was scared. I was emotional. This was a long time ago. That was 2014, so that's 10 years ago. So at that moment, suddenly I remember, anchor the breath, come back to yourself, breathe, breathe, breathe. And yes, and I just asked that. And it saved me. It took me about the first 15 or 20 minutes to really calm myself down. Even though, yes, there was a little space left in the lung, but I still be able to breathe shortly until I was taken to an operation to take the water out, After that incident, then I realized, then I treasure my body. And one thing that I promised to myself, that I would never, ever be unkind to my body, to overwork myself anymore, and cherish my breath. Now that LIêN is standing here in front of you, speaking, my lung is normal, operating normal. Breathe in and out, no problem. Okay. And I learned how to be grateful with that. But most of us, when we are not sick, we tend to take it for granted. We don't appreciate our breathing, our lung, our ability to breathe, until something happens to us. So think, reflect. We get into that in a moment to see what are the most priority, what are the most important to us at the moment. Okay. So with this third exercise, every time that coming back to the body, it helped me to check in with myself. Where am I at this moment? How do I feel at this moment? How is my lung? How is my liver? How is my kidney? Believe it or not, when we are mindful, we are concentrated, you can detect a lot of things within yourself. Allows a day, thanks to the AI, thanks to technology, you just take a CT scan or an MRI, then it tells you what happened. But if we are mindful enough, you can detect yourself to a certain level. When your body is fatigued, is tiring, you overwork the body, it sends you the signals. Before one gets a stroke, it's not just that one stroke. So before the one big stroke, the body might have sent many, many signals already. There might be some small stroke, but we neglected. We've been so busy taking care of our projects and many other things. So we're not able to detect that. So a third exercise that helps us to come back, to check in with yourself, to see, recognize the imbalances between the body. You listen to the sob, the pain within the body. Listen and be with it. I not only the lung infection, before I also had some other problem as well. So I learned how to listen to my kidneys calling me. Every time there's a complaint, I working too late, too much, then my kidney tell me, time to go to bed, and so on. So if we breathe mindfully, we'll be able to detect what is going on within the body. Once we're able to listen, to calm, to be with the body, then we can learn how to calm down all of the activities in the body. See, when being recognizing what is going on with the body, learn how to calm down with the body, calm the body down. That alone is not enough. You're just taking care of the problem at that moment. Now is look deeply to see what have we done to ourselves. What activity, that triggers what happening in the body. for me, that I see that in the recent years, the progress and the pace of work in many professions have increased dramatically. There's a demand. There's so much work. There's so much things to be improved. But remember, we can only be motivated to focus when we know how to balance between work with rest and relaxation. Creativity without leisure will end in fatigue very quickly. Remember, we're not a machine. We're not a robot. We're human. We need to rest. In this case, we have to learn how to moderate activities throughout the day. That's what we call moderation in activity. So what we do is, like myself, I keep work and life in balance. I know my physical and my mental health limit. So I choose enough activities that I can do within a day. And we learn to do one thing at a time. Outside in society, there is a force, it become a culture, it's a corporate culture, that humans are trained to be multitasking, doing multiple things at once. You know, as for me, multitasking is a myth. The mind can only concentrate on one thing at a time. You think that you'll be able to think 2 things or 3 things at the same time? No. You can only flip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the more you flip and back and forth, you consume more energy of yourself. That is why people get burned out. That's why people get panic. That's why people get attacked. Multitasking can be very dangerous. So there's a lot of corporation out there asking people to do multitasking. There are people actually dying on the screen as they type. So be careful with that. So as for us, we train ourselves to do one thing at a time. When we do that, we see that it helps us to concentrating and preserving our energy. Also, part of the common of the body, looking deeply that might have done so much activity throughout the day, so we learn how to moderate it. Not only we moderate the activity, but we need to learn how to use the life, prioritize our tasks. How do we prioritize our tasks? You make the list of tasks. What are the most important things to do? And you work down to the list. And you meet in mind how many that you can do a day. Now, talking about setting priority, especially prioritize work. Remember the story that I shared about the ping pong balls earlier? As for me now as a monk, priority is that what are the practices that I can prioritize, that I can incorporate into my daily life every day. So priority can be, before I go sitting in the morning, I enjoy sitting still for a few minutes for a cup of tea. Before start working in the morning, make sure I enjoy sit still with the Sangha for some times. So as for us, when we go home, what are our priorities? Can be before you go to work, give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes to enjoy your sitting still. Enjoy a cup of tea before you go to work. Remember, if we start the day slow, then you set the pace, the tone, very calm for the rest of the day. If we start the day with running and chasing, then we will run for the rest of the day. Isn't it true? So now, how to prioritize our work? Not only incorporate a practice at home before you go to work, but at work, you can learn, apply the walk-in meditation at work. You know, there was one time I was so stressful at work. This is before I became a monk. Every day at my lunchtime, I had 1 hour lunch. And I had to use 30 minutes, first 30 minutes to go to a church nearby, to go inside, to sit still, to heal myself. At that moment, that 20 years ago, I did not know anything about practicing meditation. I did not know anything about mindfulness. I only knew that I need a serene atmosphere, a peaceful environment so that I can heal, I can recharge myself. And I did just that for 2 years every day. Use my 30 minutes, just go inside of the church, St. James Church in Seattle, Washington. That's where I went. Every day, 30 minutes. Go inside just to heal, just to recharge myself. So now we learn, prioritize ourselves, make sure that we have some time to recharge ourselves, to relax ourselves, to rest ourselves. How we can use the time more effectively. We might think that, if I rest too much, I rest too long, I take too long, what about the work? What about the work? 4 or 5 hours of focus of mindful work can lead to better results than 10 hours of not mindful and unfocused work. Isn't it true? Sometimes that we spend a lot of time in the office, 10 hours, 12 hours, we try to figure out a solution, but we got nowhere. Sometimes we have to learn how to practice of let go. Sometimes we try our best and we go nowhere. There are certain things that you cannot help right away. We have to learn how to be patient. We have to wait until the time is right. One of the things that I appreciate in the 4 exercise is calming the body, is that resting my body, calming the body. Now I'm learning how to rest my body. The question is, a lot of us, are we able to rest in a restful, leisure, nourishing, and meaningful manner? Some of us don't even know, don't even remember how to rest. And we even feel guilty to rest because we think it makes us more stagnant at work. We have the habit of running and being busy. We keep ourselves busy all the time. And we continue to keep ourselves busy in that cycle. Please remember, no matter how good or how subtle our busyness may bring. If I'm busy and productive, I can create, I can do a lot of this, lead a lot of that, increase productivities, and so on and so on. But in my discovery, busyness is still just restlessness. Busyness is just restlessness of searching. In some culture, people even disapprove of resting and seeing it as a sign of weakness and laziness. We have to be careful with this. In Plum Village, one of the things I'm so grateful of being here in this edition is that we have a lazy day. We have a lazy day. We have a practice called lazy day. Lazy day is a day where we have no scheduled activity. We let the day unfold in a natural way while maintaining mindfulness. And that day we can enjoy, do our own sitting, having a cup of tea, going for a walk, reading, even write some love letters to friends and family members. We enjoy life at our own space. It's a day, Thai says, a day of being rather than doing. Remember, that's a privilege of being a human. Human, we can enjoy being. Robots don't have the privilege. So as a community, lazy day is a very magical day. Resting instead of working too hard. It gives us a space to relax, to respond, and to enlighten our spirit. And remember, believe it or not, we cannot maintain mindfulness unless we learn to truly rest. And this is true. I learned that when I am so tired, my physical body is so tired, is so exhausted, or when my mind is so blurry, it's very difficult for me to stay mindful and stay peaceful. Whereas when I'm relaxed, I'm restful, then my mind becomes more mindful, more clear, and more peaceful. So the next few days, we spare at least one day during this retreat for you to practice the observe of doing nothing. So please enjoy and take the opportunity to practice a day of doing nothing. What we call being a lazy bee. You might go around, you might encounter the brother and sister. They will ask you, are you lazy enough today? So dear friends, if we are proactively rest and stop working, stop waiting, we will create space. And we need that space to experience what is necessary in life. We need space to renew ourselves. We need space for things that we didn't plan for. We need space for the vibration, for emotion, for stress, for joy that we forget in the hustle, bustle, everyday life. Yes, rest give us the ability to be more creative and find a way not to react. One time, I told my sister, if you don't feel comfortable enough being able to sit still and always trying to keep yourself busy finding something to do, for sure that your life is out of balance. So dear friends, just a few more days, we will welcome a new year, 2025, right? As Thai has taught, new year, new me. If we don't change, then the new year is not new. It's the same. So just a few more days left, take the opportunity to reflect. What are the things that I would like to renew? My body, my mind, my relationships with others. Take this moment to reflect on that. the success or happiness that we have been searching for is actually right within us. When we have a solid spiritual life, a waking life, we will see that we are living in the world of abundance. We are more richer. We are more wealthier than we think we are. And that's only when you have time to rest, to reflect, and to see, to be able to touch those things. And when you have time to touch, to reflect, to rest, you will see that deep inside of our souls, whether what we are doing is meaningful or not. If we take some time to sit still and connect with ourselves, with the current work that we are doing, we will realize if our mind is large or small. Are we lazy or we are happy? We are peace or worry? We relax or are we stressed? Are we happy or we are sad? You will see, or we will see, that everything that we are doing is truly the legacy that we leave behind in this life. Please, please, last, I would like to leave with you. Happiness is only possible when we have a peaceful mind. True peace is the foundation of true happiness. With a peaceful mind, any changes or conditions arise outside will not affect or disturb us. Peace begins with ourselves. If we are able to breathe in peace, walk in peace, sit in peace, then our life will become solid, and we will be a place of refuge and a source of aspiration for many others. Thank you so much for your deep listening. May peace be with you.